Hi and welcome to Terry Talks Movies. This time around I've got a couple of things I've been given by Imprint and Viavision, the same company but different labels, to talk about, and they're not the kind of stuff we usually do on this channel, but stick around. I'm going to tell you why you should pick them up and why you should appreciate the movies, which again are not in my comfort zone one tiny bit. I'm going to start off with a 3-part television series from 2016, which again is outside my comfort zone. It's based on a novel by Anthony Trollope, and I'll pause here while everybody makes Trollope jokes. And it's a thing written by Julian Fellows, who also wrote Downton Abbey, and it's a thing called Dr. Thorne.
Life.
Birth. Lovers. Tragedy.
Money.
Charm.
Beauty.
Marriage.
Money.
Family.
Love.
Choice.
Money.
Silence!
Which stars Tom Hollander and Stephanie Martini. It's one of those 19th century rich people kind of things. Let me just read out the blurb of it. When the terrifying Lady Arabella Gresham discovers that her darling son Frank has fallen in love with Dr. Thorne's penniless niece, she is horrified. Her husband has frittered away the family fortune and is only kept afloat by very favourable loans that Dr. Thorne has secured from a railway millionaire, Sir Roger Scratchard, played by Ian McShane. Got to give a point for Ian McShane. However, Sir Roger is drinking himself into an early grave and the financial future is uncertain, so Lady Arabella believes it is her son's duty to make a rich marriage to save the family estate and launches a campaign to secure her son an heiress for a bride. So it's basically rich people who don't want to go to work. Some people like this kind of stuff. It's not for me. I didn't even watch Downton Abbey, and I don't like The Crown. I think they're propaganda pieces for privilege, and they're not my thing at all. But there's going to be someone in your life that will enjoy this. It's well done. It's beautifully shot, and the costumes are all on point. And getting in decent actors like Shane and Tom Hollander and Stephanie Martini makes it better than it would have been otherwise. But again, it's not my thing. The holiday seasons are coming up faster than we think, and there may be something you want to give to somebody you know who will enjoy this and also enjoys physical media. I had a few chats recently with some people online, and there are a lot of women who are still collecting physical media as well. They've been bitten by not being able to find things they like on streaming services, as indeed have we all. And so it's good that Viavision are putting these things out so that people can get and retain the things they enjoy and not have to worry about the capricious nature of streaming conglomerates. The other things I've got are from the current month of Imprint. One of them is one of their film focus videos, but I also got one of their other Blu-rays. This was a movie from 2002 which was never on my radar. It was directed by Karen Moncrief. It was the first film she directed. She's since gone on to do a lot of work on television and other media. It's a little film called Blue Car. Now, I watched this one with no expectations at all and no anticipation and no knowledge of it. But this one grabbed me. It's rock solid. Agnes Bruckner plays a girl called Meg, who's a high school senior. She's passionate about poetry and she's good at it. She's a promising poet. And her teacher, Oster, played by David Strathairn, is mentoring her for a poetry competition, which may well get her a scholarship so she can go to university and continue her career as a poet. Now, Meg has some family problems. Her mother and her father are just separated. She's living with her mother. Her mother's working 12-hour days to keep them afloat. Her younger sister has severe mental health issues, which grow as the movie continues. And even though Meg has some friends, she's an outlier. She's a poet. And Oster mentors her. And as the movie continues, we find out he's also grooming her. And so David Strathairn is really good in this one. He's playing a dual character in the sense that he appreciates her talent and her gifts and her passion for poetry. And in the meantime, he has his own agenda. It's a good drama and it's a disturbing film in some ways. There's a scene of closeness, let's say, and I've got to be careful with YouTube because YouTube's a bit tweaky about this stuff. There's a scene of closeness between Agnes Bruckner's character Meg and Oster, played by David Strathairn. It's the most cringe-inducing scene of that type I have ever seen. It makes you sick to the stomach. It doesn't end there. It's not just about abuse. It's about a young woman finding herself, finding her voice, and finding a way to prevail against people who have their own agendas about her. It's a really fine movie. I like this one a lot. It surprised me at how good it is. Now, this is, of course, the usual region-free Blu-ray from Imprint, There's your inside cover. And there's a lot of extras on this, and they're quite well chosen as well. It's in 1080p from a 2K scan. Audio commentary by the director Karen Moncrief. Deleted scenes with optional audio commentary by Karen Moncrief. An interview with the editor Toby Yates from 2023. Shades of Blue, Shooting Blue Car. An interview with the DP, director of photography Rob Sweeney. Sadly Timeless, Designing Blue Car. An interview with the production designer Kristen Andrews. So all of the people around the central creative people in this movie get a go with this one. And it is quite good. There's a picture of Meg on the beach. There's a nice little role for Frances Fisher as well, playing Oster's wife. She gets to be a very ambivalent character. I like this movie. Anytime I step outside my comfort zone and watch a movie like this, I learn more about movies, and I learn more about why I love movies. One of the extraordinary things about this film is it was released by Miramax, Harvey Weinstein's company, when Harvey Weinstein was at his peak power. So a movie about an abuser and his victim getting revenge in a very oblique way, which was greenlit for distribution by Harvey Weinstein. That's a strange and weird thing. I cannot recommend this one highly enough. I really enjoyed it. And I enjoyed watching a film that wasn't the usual kind of film I watch. And I think we should all do that at times. Yes, we've got our comfort zones, and yes, we've got limited time to watch movies. But when you watch a movie that is good, but is not your usual kind of good, there's something that cleanses your palate in doing that. And I love that about this film. Now, the other thing I've got is the 4-disc Film Focus Jessica Lange from Imprint. And this has got 4 Jessica Lange films. They've previously done a couple of these. There's one for Jennifer Connelly that came out this month as well. And there was previously one for Gene Hackman. But this time around they're going with female actors. And the movies in this are rock solid. There's a quote on the back from Jessica Lange about being an actress and her career. And there's the usual sticky card. I'll try to bring that closer so you can see all of the extras on the movie. There's Jessica Lange dancing with Sam Shepard. And the 4 movies are interesting. All of them are dramas, and they cover a wide range of subjects. The first one is a biopic of a now forgotten actress, Frances Farmer, who was an actress in the 1930s and 1940s, who had mental health issues and who bucked the system in Hollywood and really paid a price for it. There it is, Frances. This was a role that every prominent actress in Hollywood wanted, and Jessica Lange got. It's a very confronting film in a lot of ways. I'll read you the blurb from the back. A 16-year-old girl is swept off her feet into the glory of Hollywood, but with her strong political opinions, a flamboyant love life, and then imprisonment, she falls further into the depths of misfortune. And she does. I'm not going to spoil this one for you. I think Frances is an important Hollywood biopic, which is not the usual fluff and the usual prettied up biopic. This is a hardcore movie. Directed by Graham Clifford. The special features on it are 1080p from a 2K scan, audio commentary with director Graham Clifford and David Gregory, audio commentary by film historian / critic Matthew Aspergier from 2023, reflecting on Frances, an interview with the producer Jonathan Sanger from this year, Good Night Frances, an interview with the director, Deco Dreams, the art and style of Frances, an interview with the art director Ida Random, A Hollywood Life Remembering Frances, a featurette about Frances Farmer, archival interview with actress Jessica Lange from 1983, and a theatrical trailer. This is a solid little catch by Imprint, and there's the inside cover. It's not one of the biopics that Hollywood loves because it is critical of Hollywood, and Hollywood after a certain time tends to bury biopics particularly that aren't favourable to the Hollywood system. That one's a really nice catch by Imprint. I like the fact that they've done that. The next one's a kind of drama comedy with a good ensemble cast. Diane Keaton, Jessica Lange, Sissy Spacek. Crimes of the Heart. There's about 3 sisters who reunite after years apart, and their lives are very different. And they kind of get together and support each other through some rough times. It's a fun film. Again, it's a 1080p high definition presentation from a 2K scan. Audio commentary by Karen Horsley, author of The American Southern Gothic in Cinema. Everyday Life Well Observed, director Bruce Beresford. This is directed by Bruce Beresford, the Australian director, the same director who did the Barry McKenzie movies back in the 1970s. And I always like to say that when a Bruce Beresford movie comes up. There's a 2023 interview with Bruce about that. Southern Discomfort, playwright Beth Henley on Crimes of the Heart. Archival interviews with Bruce Beresford, Jessica Lange, Sissy Spacek, Tess Harper, playwright Beth Henley, and producer Freddie Fields from 1986. And a theatrical trailer. Again, another one that should be watched and enjoyed, particularly if you're a fan of the work of Bruce Beresford. This one's a harbour. Costa Gavras directed it. It stars Jessica Lange and Armin Mueller-Stahl. Music Box. It's about an American lawyer who finds out that her father may possibly be a Nazi collaborator who was responsible for the rape, torture, and murder of a number of people during World War II. Here's a blurb. Chicago attorney Ann Talbot agrees to defend her Hungarian immigrant father against accusations of heinous war crimes committed 50 years earlier. Costa Gavras was never a director who was going to give you a musical or a comedy, and this one plays it hard. It's a 1080p high-definition presentation from 2K Scan. There's an audio commentary with Gary Crotus, the editor of Cineast magazine. Life Imitates Tragedy. Screenwriter Joe Esterhazy on Music Box. Joe Esterhazy, of course, wrote Showgirls, amongst other things. Through a Different Doorway. Production designer Janine Opperwall on Characters and Their Environments from 2023. Folk Dancing and Homebrew Fluency. Actor Michael Rooker on The Actor's Craft 2023. Michael Rooker's in this film, and they do an interview, and he talks about being an actor. If you're not a fan of this kind of film, Michael Rooker talking about the craft of acting makes this disc worth it. Film struck the early career of actor Lucas Haas, who plays a role in this one as well. A Time of Trial, an original featurette from the time about this movie. Profile, Taking Risks, Costa Gavras and Irwin Winkler, an original featurette. Archival interviews with Jessica Lange, Armin Mueller-Stahl, and director Costa Gavras from 1989. And a theatrical trailer. Hardcore film, not an easy watch in any way. I think there are things that need to be restated in society and in cinema, and the theme of this one is one of those things that needs to be restated frequently. Next up, we've got a movie directed by Stephen Gyllenhaal, the father of Maggie and Jake Gyllenhaal. A complex film, this one. It's got a good cast too. Jessica Lange, Halle Berry, David Strathairn, who's turning up again here, Cuba Gooding Jr. and Samuel L. Jackson. It's a movie called Losing Isaiah, which raises some really complex issues. Halle Berry plays a woman who's just had a child. She's a crack addict, and she leaves a kid in a dumpster and thinks it dies. But it doesn't, and it is rescued. And a social worker, played by Jessica Lange, adopts this child. His name is Isaiah. Years later, the character played by Halle Berry's got all of her ducks lined up. She's gone through rehab, she's got her life on track, and she wants her child back. So there's a court case. There's a court case for the custody of the child. And Samuel L. Jackson plays the lawyer for the Halle Berry character in it. It raises a lot of issues about race. It's about people who make mistakes in their life and try to rectify them, and when those mistakes involve a child, how should things be rectified? Interesting film. I watched it years ago, but I haven't seen it recently. But I remember it having a very satisfying conclusion. But there's that one, and I think it's a movie that you should check out for the simple reason that you're seeing Halle Berry at the start of her career, you're seeing Samuel L. Jackson toward the start of his career, and Jessica Lange playing a very thankless role as a white woman who adopts a baby of colour. Does a nice job of it as well. All of the actors are on point here. It's one of those social commentary movies, so it was never going to make $1 billion. But smaller movies like this deserve respect. It's not a perfect film, and it's a difficult film for a lot of people to watch because it does raise those issues of race and those issues of privilege, which are not easily answered even to this day. So I'm glad Imprint's putting these movies out because they wouldn't get a Blu-ray release otherwise, really. And preserving cinema. These movies, once they've been released, can't be changed by a studio. They're here, they're in this format, they're retained. And I think increasingly as I think about physical media, a lot of what I think about is the fact that it's locked in. It's not something that somebody who owns the rights to it is going to change in the future. And I really appreciate the fact that Imprint and Viavision are putting things like that out and putting out movies like Blue Car, which are incredible hidden gem dramas that nobody's talking about, but once you watch it, you will be. I like it. I like what they're doing. I like how they're doing it. And I like the fact that just this month, the focus is on female-centered movies in the collection that Imprint are putting out. And I think that there's a tendency in the physical media realm to just appreciate and consider movies that are male-centric. But having a month where this occurs, and having more months where this occurs as well, is something that's important. I don't know whether these movies are going to sell as well as some of the other films that Imprint have put out, but I hope they do, and I'm glad that they're being preserved. So that's it for this time around. Nice little odd selection of movies and a TV series that you might want to either buy for somebody else or buy and enjoy yourself. So thanks very much for watching. If you enjoyed the video, please like, subscribe, and leave a comment. You can support the channel two ways. You can become a channel member, and there's a link in the description of this video on how to do that. You can also support the channel through Patreon at patreon.com/TerryTalksMovies. Next up, I'm going to release a haul video, but for Science Fiction Saturday. So there's going to be an extra video this week. So enjoy that. And then we get Science Fiction Saturday again. And then after that, we've got the last of my A to Z through the alphabet hidden movie gems, which I'm covering W, X, Y, and Z. And I've got a lot of films to put into that one, and that's going to be fun too. I really enjoyed that series, and I'm going to continue doing hidden gems on the movies I release on a Monday morning here in Australia, because I think there's a lot more to say and a lot more films to say it about. So until then, watch some good movies, watch some bad movies. Watch some movies that you wouldn't normally watch, but you're going to enjoy. And I'll catch you next time.